Hey, good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm not doing a drum video. I'm doing a car video. A car video? You don't do those. Yeah, I'm gonna do one here and there. I'm doing this. For anyone interested in a C6 Corvette, buying one or borrowing one, this is gonna be 4 years of ownership, costs, mods, overall experience. So this thing here, 2005 C6 Corvette in Daytona Sunset Orange Metallic that I bought in December of, what was it, 2020? Yeah, I think so. At the onset of the plague, before winter, I bought this thing. I'm in Connecticut. So winter means you're not driving this thing. Why did I buy this? I'll tell you the story. Before this car, I had a 72 Barracuda. That was just my car. Had it for many years. One of the best looking cars ever made on the planet. And let's see. Made the move to Connecticut. And when I made the move, I was buying a house and I needed to come up with a bunch of money right now. You might be thinking, oh, so then you sold the Barracuda and did that? I'm like, I didn't have time to list it and, you know, wait around for a buyer and try to do that. I was under the gun. So I looked around for a bunch of money and my 401k had a bunch of money in it. So I took a bunch of money out. Moved to Connecticut from LA. I could do a whole video on escaping LA, but I'm not gonna. Knowing that I was going to take a big hit tax-wise on taking that money out of my 401k. Tax time came. Oh yeah, I owed a bunch of money. So I was like, oh, where am I going to get this money? Sell the Barracuda. Listed it. Tried it on Bring a Trailer, Facebook Marketplace. I thought I'd get more for it than I did. I thought it'd go quicker than it did. Ended up selling it on Facebook Marketplace to a gentleman that drove up from Long Island to take a look at the car. He rolled up in a black Lexus with New York plates on it. Looked pretty scary, him driving up. But looked at the car, made an offer. It was a little more than he wanted to spend. It was less than I wanted to accept. So I sold it. Got myself out of tax trouble. And all I had then was an empty garage and I had my motorcycle. I had a Ducati Monster. I was like, I'm cool with the Ducati, you know, for my speed kicks. And then I'm like, I wasn't a really good motorcycle rider. I don't lean down into turns, and motorcycles are freaking dangerous. Things happen in a blink of an eye. So I was like, I needed to get a sports car in my life. So started looking around at stuff. I'll tell you what I had considered. I was never a Corvette guy. My girlfriend had an 82 Corvette. Classic Stingray styling. Hers was like light ice blue or something. A total chick car and underpowered, like 185 horsepower. Not built well, but she loved it. I never cared about it. So I was never a Corvette guy. Other cars I had considered were maybe a Dodge Challenger coming from the Barracuda. But then I was like, they're a little big old brick of a car, and they don't have nearly the styling as my 72 Barracuda. I always wanted a Porsche. So I was looking at maybe a 911 or a Cayman S. Talking to a Porsche expert guy I know, and you know, for the money I had to spend, any of those years of those cars I could afford weren't the year cars that you wanted to own. So I'm like, Then I was like, maybe I like a 944 turbo. Those are cool, but those are aging and I didn't want a classic car again. Then I thought maybe, you know, sporty little Honda S2000, but I don't like convertibles. And then I was considering maybe a Datsun 280Z, something vintage that's been gone through and updated. Those are pricey if you find a nice example. They're expensive. Then I was thinking maybe a Subaru BRZ. Those look fun. I wish they made them all-wheel drive like a regular Subaru. then I'd be like, ooh, that's a car. So I was just poking around Auto Trader and this thing came up. 2005 Corvette. Pictures looked cool. Never drove one of these. I went to the dealership in Brooklyn, Connecticut, Vashon Chevrolet. Yeah, we have a Brooklyn in Connecticut. I didn't know that. Had 71,500 miles on it, bone stock, in nice shape. The paint is great on it. Had brand new Michelin pilots on it. Interior is nice. Everything was clean. Bone stock, as I said. They had it listed at $21,900. I was like, I don't know if I want to spend that money. And I don't know much about a Corvette. So I took it right out there and took it for a spin. And I liked it. I fit in it nicely. I could see good. I took it for a quick, maybe 5-10 minute drive, and it fit well. I liked how light it was. It was really weird. It's only 3,200 pounds. Felt really super light. The balance was good. Turns in nicely. It's got like near perfect 50-50 weight distribution, which is, you can tell when a car is well balanced. Turning was good. Tail will jump out, but doesn't want to jump out. And I was like, cool. Let's talk price, boys. So they were saying $21,900. And it's funny, it was in December, and I asked him, what do you do in the car lot here in the winter when it snows? He goes, oh man, we have to like brush all the snow off the cars, move around, plow. I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks. So December, onset of the plague. I think it was a buyer's market. So I said, what's the best you could do? They said they could knock 600 off it. I'm like, 600. And I said, nah, I'll do 18.5. And they're like going, no, that's okay. I'm like going, that's cool, because I don't need to buy a Corvette. He's like, yeah, no, nobody needs to buy a Corvette. So I walked. I didn't need to buy a sports car. Winter was coming. So I was in no hurry. So a couple weeks later, they called me and they said, what was your offer? I said 18.5. And they're like, all right, we'll take it as long as you can buy it, by the end of the year. This was late December, not late December back in 63. So I was like, cool. And now I need to come up with money because I only had like a couple grand. I didn't want to finance it through the dealer. So I went through a company called Lightstream, applied for the loan, took minutes, got a check like 2 days later. I took out a loan for 16,000 grand, a 4-year loan. So this December or January, that'll be paid off. Went and got the car. And when I drove it home on the highway that night, I was like, ooh, this is fast. I didn't take it on the highway when I test drove it. And it just sails. And I was like, no wonder like pilots and astronauts like Corvettes. It's made to be on the open road. Like just, I could do the cannonball in this thing. It's just so smooth and fast and quick and handles good. But it's a Chevy. Quality isn't job one. They put the engineering and the money in the engine and the transmission. It's great. The inside is really, really super basic, dated. It's from 2005, so they didn't have to keep pace with a lot of interior, features. So I liked it a lot, and I remember thinking, man, I've never had a car that I like so much yet wanted to modify and change so many things on. So I started doing my research. I should have done my research on Corvettes before I bought the thing. I kind of dove in. It's a 2005, which is not the year you want to get. It's the first year. Had a few issues. One was the harmonic balancer, which when I was at the dealership, the belt was kind of squeaking. And I didn't know to look at for this issue. I'm like, oh, it's probably, it's because it's cold out. I'm like, going, okay, it's cold. So the balancer was going bad. And there was this column lockout issue with this 2005 that left me stranded once. I was on my way to go see King Crimson. We stopped for gas. Car wouldn't start. Column lock bypass thing. Missed the concert. So I proceeded with mods. My first mod was a radar detector, which I bought, and really all the thing does is beep. It doesn't do me any good. Maybe I'll buy a better one, like a Valentine. But I use Waze. That works. And when I first bought the car, it was super quiet. It sounds like an Escalade or something. Super quiet. Even when you get on the gas, that stock exhaust is just quiet. So I was looking at first mods where I did a VRM cold air intake and a Flowmaster axle back system. The Flowmasters I bought off of a fellow Corvette enthusiast on Facebook Marketplace. I met him somewhere far. We met in the middle of wherever we lived. And then like a week later, he was like, hey, I got these wheels. I got new ones for mine. You want to buy those? And I'm like, yeah, I want to buy those. These remind me of like Ferrari 360 Modena wheels. So I bought the wheels from him. So we did let me tell you, the axle back and the VRM cold air intake doesn't do anything for performance. Nothing you can feel. Maybe there's a slight increase measurably, but doesn't do anything. But it sounded better. I did an MGW shifter because the stock shifter is like this really tall, like pole of a shifter with longer throws. I wanted something with a short throw. I got the MGW, and I did the anti-venom mod. Look that up if you're a Corvette guy. I only used the one washer. I want to add the second. I think it could be smoother and quicker. Let me go back. These cars, when they came out in 2005, were like $50,000. So that's an expensive car. So then the money comes in with the mods and stuff I had to fix. The HUD wasn't working. That's the heads-up display. Eventually looked around, bought one of those on eBay they said it was in working order from a wrecked C6. So I had that ready to go. I did new Bilsteins all around. I wanted to lower the car on stock bolts, but the stock bolts were seized up. So I got IBAC bolts, had those installed at Grossman Chevy in Old Saybrook, and also did an alignment. Let's see. Had to do new fuel pumps. This car has 2 fuel pumps. It has 2 gas tanks left and right, which is kind of trick. It moves the gas from left to right to keep the weight distribution even. It's trick, but that's an issue that you come up with a what is this, a 19-year-old car. So I replaced both fuel pumps, installed, big job, pain in the butt, $3,500. Had to do a new water pump. That was expensive. I did the balancer. I did an ATI balancer with the ARP bolt for $475. Had to do the column lock bypass. The install of the balancer. Had to do a new water pump, belts, seals, $1,500. Lower radiator support was broken. Those things are made of glass. Got a new one from Cranes. Really cool looking, racy looking lower radiator support. It's all fabricated aluminum. I did the side skirts, front splitter, and rear spoiler. These are ZR1 style from Extreme Online Store. Had them painted in a gloss black metallic. I wish it was a little more metallic. I did these things. They look cool. Tint, ceramic tint. That's another thing. I called the tint store. I told them what I had, a C6 Corvette. They gave me one price. I go there and they're like, oh, it's going to cost more because I thought you said C7, which has a smaller back window. So $500 for the tint. I did headers and an X pipe from Speed Engineering, installed at Killtech Engineering in Meriden, Connecticut by a guy named Phil. He installed them, did a tune. We're getting big jump in horsepower there. That was like the best mod you could do is headers and X pipe in the intake. So right now my max horsepower is 400. That's what they advertise them as from stock, 400 horses. In reality, it was more like 380. So I'm up to a true 400, and my torques are at 415. My heads-up display I had installed at Key Chevrolet in Middletown. I liked them. Out of all the dealerships I've been to for work, I like Key Chevrolet in Middletown the best. It was $1,000 to install the heads-up display, but it's a cool thing to have. Most recently, I was having a misfire. Apparently, I had to do a crank relearn. So Mike's Auto and Haddam did that. They're another good shop. They're fearless. They'll work on anything. So this is the first time I actually looked at how much I spent on this car. And, you know, with interest on the loan too, that's like a couple grand. I spent a lot on this car. It's cool. It's cool. It's a cool car. It's a cool color. I did not want to get a red one, you know, because of the song. I didn't want a silver one. They look cool, but they are freaking invisible. I did look at one other Vette before this. It was a black one, which was tough. But it seemed to be a little bit beat on. This thing I could tell was totally adult owned. Like, these things are usually owned by an adult or a kid that just beats on it, or an adult that drives the speed limit. It's super fast, faster than I thought, and with the headers and the tune, as fast as it's supposed to be. So it's wicked quick, it's fast. It's kind of frustrating because everybody is slower than me and in my way. The other thing is this car does not feel fast unless you're going at least 100 miles an hour. So I've gotten into trouble with it just because I'm cruising what I think is normal, and it's not normal. I got one good speeding ticket, just going 89 on the highway. I was like cruising along, steering with my knee, eating a chicken salad sandwich. And I got pulled over, and I was like, this sucks. I already had a couple tickets, so I hired a lawyer, Sal Bonanno. He made everything go away like it didn't happen. So, and at that time, you know, when I got that ticket, I'm going, you know, why do I even have this car? It doesn't feel fast unless you're actually going fast. So I was thinking, I need to get something that just feels fast. Maybe a Volkswagen Golf GTI. It's quick and it's gonna feel quick, so I don't have to be going 130 to get that feeling. Then I decided, I'll keep the Vette and, you know, fly when I can fly. I took it to Lime Rock Park once. They did a tapas track day. So that's they have a small infield course. You're never getting out of second gear. You're not even barely going over 50 miles an hour, but all the turns are so tight and you're just gunning it from turn to turn. You're sliding, you're getting sideways, you're gunning it, the tail end is coming out. That was the most fun I had in the Vette. The Vette then made sense to me. I'm going, this is the experience. A Volkswagen Golf wouldn't feel like that there. So I'm sticking with the Vette. Future mods, I'm going to do lights from Vette lights, upgrades. I'm not going to do the Morimoto C7 style lights. They're $1,500. I'll just do like LEDs, upgrade there. What else? I've written down my future mods list. So I don't think you're ever done with these. It reminds me of like when I had a BMX bike. We would always be buying parts for our BMX bikes. It was kind of like this. And again, like a car that I like so much, I wanted to change so much about it. I'd like to get a new steering wheel. I don't see many options for a 2005. The steering wheel on this is huge. It's like you're driving a bus. So that's the Vette. Let me start it up for you real quick. I'll gun it. It's not a cold start. It's warmed up. And then what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to film a separate like drive-by thing and then try to edit it into this. I don't like editing. But let's hear this thing. Then we'll take you for a spin. I like the Corvette. I like the C6. I didn't like the C7s when they came out. They kind of look like a Matchbox car to me. Too many little bits and pieces. I'm starting to like them better now in like a dark gray or something. And, you know, big upgrade in those cars across the board. And then the C8 came out. I didn't like those when I first saw them until the Z06 came out. Then I was like, ooh, that makes sense. A black one. They're expensive, but, you know, everything is, isn't it? All right, I'm going to start it up. Then we're going to go for a quick drive-by spin. Sounds cool, no?